counting on you. Home brewing videos and product reviews. Brewing Daddy, we're learning from the best, it's true.
All right, brewing peeps, it's been 2 weeks now and our beer has fermented and we're ready to dry hop it. So let's get our airlock out and our lid out. I've got a clean paper towel here we're going to set everything on. See if we can do this without making a big mess. Everything looks good. Oh, it smells good. Woo-wee. And this is what we're putting in. We're putting in the Citra and Amarillo blend dry hops. I'm gonna tell you what, this smells great. So let's get this cut open, and all you gotta do is just dump it straight in there. And it's just pellets. That's all it is. Now this is gonna sit for 5 days. And then we're gonna be ready to bottle it. So let's get our lid back on. Doesn't say anything about mixing it or stirring it or anything like that, so we're just gonna leave it right there on the top, just like it says. And all the instructions say just add directly to carboy after 2 weeks of fermentation, wait 5 days before bottling, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. It'll all absorb moisture and sink down to the bottom. Everything will be settled in a couple of days. We're going to be back 5 days. We're going to bottle this up. We'll see you then. All right, brewing peeps, we are back, and our hoppy wheat has been dry hopped, and it's been about a week now. So we got everything set up here. We got our bottles soaking in some iodine solution. I didn't use the packet of sanitizer that Craft A Brew provided. I decided to use my stuff, and I'll save this for a later time. I have my filling tube. I got it soaking, and as you can see, there's fluid in it. So I've had it soaking. I'm gonna let this soak for about 15 minutes total. And then I got my fermenter elevated, got a clean towel. I got my bottle capper here, and then I got my fizz drops, my Mangrove Jack's fizz drops. And let's not forget about our golden, our orange golden ale here that we just brewed from Craft A Brew. Great beer, tasty. All right, so we're gonna let this soak for a few more minutes, then we're gonna pull everything out, air dry it for a few minutes, and we'll get started on the bottling. We'll be back. All right, so we've let our bottles soak for long enough. We're gonna go ahead and start pulling them out, and we're gonna just let them air dry for a little bit here. It's not required with this sanitizer, iodine sanitizer. You can go straight to using them. But I like to let them air dry for a few minutes, just out of habit. So we'll get all these pulled out, and we'll empty out our bottling filler and tube and get it connected to our fermenter. This sanitizer does a really good job. I've been using it since I started brewing. It's very economical, and it really goes a long way. I'm still using the first bottle that I purchased when I first started brewing. It's almost empty. I might have to buy another bottle of it, but I like it. Some folks don't like it because it stains your plastic sometimes. You know, it can stain your clear plastic fermenters and tubes, especially tubing. It's really bad about staining tubing, but I don't really care about that. It doesn't bother me if my tubing's a little golden colored, because that's all it does. It'll make it a golden color. Now, I do have 12 caps in here as well. I forgot to mention that earlier, but there's 12 bottle caps in here, and I'm using silver for this particular brew, just to differentiate it from the other beers that I've brewed already. Only got one really that's already bottled up, but we'll have a bunch more. So I'm gonna get everything out of this filling tube, and the best way to do this is just take the plunger and push it in on the side of the bucket, lift it up, and as you can see, the
fluid just flows right out of it.
And it's almost there. You just want to get all the fluid out of it. So what you're going to do, just get it connected to your fermenter and just get it out of the way. And sometimes this can be a challenge. If you ever have a problem with getting one of these on, you can take a lighter and heat it up. And the first time you put it on, you're likely going to have to do that. I think that's secure enough. And I like to just drape it over the top. And that just gets it out of the way while I'm doing everything else. So I got to pull out our caps. And I did do 12 bottles and 12 caps. I don't think we're going to need them. Probably going to get 10 or 11 bottles, probably 11 out of this batch. But I always do 12 just in case. You never know, you could have a mishap and you need that extra bottle. So I always prepare 12 of each just to have that security blanket, because I don't have to go back and prepare another bottle of something. Somehow one gets contaminated or something happens. All right, our bottles have air dried for about 10 minutes, so we're good there. We're gonna get our airlock off. These things never come off easy. And turn on our spigot. And let's start filling our bottles. And it does look pretty cloudy.
Smells good though. Looks cloudy, but smells good. So I'm gonna just drop my fizz drops after we fill them all. I think that's the best strategy, because you never know how many you're gonna fill up. And rather than waste a bottle and have fizz drops in all of them, I'd rather not do that. Sometimes you're with a recipe like this, and with me not bagging the hops like I probably should have bagged them, you're probably going to need to push your plunger down some, because that plunger will get clogged up with hops. And I'm really hoping that I don't pull a lot of hops out of here. There's not a lot of particles. Everything's settled. There is a really thick layer of sediment, about that thick in the bottom. So I'm hoping, boy, that's a cloudy beer.
But it smells good. It smells like it's supposed to. It smells real good, actually. This is one of the better smelling beers that I've brewed. And maybe it's that last batch of Citra and Amarillo hops that really gave it that great odor. Hopefully it enhances the flavor. We shall find out in about 2 weeks. This might be 12 bottles. I don't know. I ended up with a lot more liquid than I thought. I didn't get the evaporation off of this brew that I thought I was going to get. And I'm not going to fill these all the way to the top. I'm going to leave a little bit of space at the top, thinking that I might squeeze out an extra bottle. But you really should fill it as close to the lip here as possible. You only want to leave just a little bit of space at the top, ideally. It's not a perfect, it's not going to be perfect. But yeah, we're moving on pretty good. It is super cloudy though. Beautiful color, you know, that golden brown. Looks a lot like the orange ale, actually. A little more golden than the orange ale. This is a lot clearer, of course. Put the two together. This is a wheat beer. It's not an ale, so I like wheat beers. I don't think I've ever brewed anything that was a wheat beer that had hops in it, or not a lot of hops in it like this brew has.
I'm trying to think what I've brewed that's wheat. I think it was been straight up just malt and no hops at all, or if it was hops, it was very little. I have done a couple of wheat beers though, but nothing like this. This is kind of like a hybrid I don't think it's very common to see a wheat beer with lots of hops in it. Maybe I'm wrong. Definitely not a beer expert, but all right, so this is moving along. Got bottle number 4. We're doing pretty good. So we started out right about here, and we got 4. We might get 12. It depends on, you know, I don't know. I'm not going to try to get too much out at the very bottom of it because I don't want to suck up any more crud than I have to. This is cloudy enough as it is. These are going to have so much sediment in the bottom of them. It's not, to me, it's not a big deal. I don't really care. I'd rather have the flavor and have the sediment. You know, I feel like if I would have bagged the hops, it would have maybe hindered the flavor just a little bit. Maybe not as strong as it would have normally been. I like it to blend with the wort. Actually, once it's fermented, it's technically beer.
That's just a technical thing. I could be wrong, but I believe before it's fermented, it's called wort, and then once it's fermented, it's your beer, ale, or whatever you're brewing. But carbonation is just one little extra step. So bottle number 6, I tell you what, we're right at a little bit above half. You know, we went from there to there, and we got about that much. We're probably gonna get 12 out of this. I think so. It's looking like it. It's gonna be real close. It's either gonna be 12 or it's gonna be 11, and then like a half a bottle left, which will suck. I just won't pull out that last bit of sediment. If it gets to that point, I'll just leave a lot more in the fermenter. But yeah, been happy to get back to brewing. Took some time off. Needed to. Had a lot of things outside of family life, you know, going on. So, but it's a good hobby. It's fun. Very enjoyable. Number 7, we're doing 8, so looking good. Looking good for 12. I normally don't get, normally this wouldn't be the case. You'd get 10 to 11. 11 usually max. I don't think I've gotten 12 but one time before. And I don't use any different, amount of water in the beginning. But just sometimes the evaporation varies. It just varies a lot. It's amazing how much it can vary.
And I did put a little bit more in this one because my last batch, because this brew time is a lot longer on this particular manufacturer's recipes. My first batch was way under, and I had to add water to it because it wouldn't have been enough for 9 beers. I don't even know if I could have got 8. So I ended up having to add. So I didn't want that issue. I'd rather brew with more water than after brewing adding water to the fermenter after the fact. I just don't like the idea of doing that. Not saying it's going to hurt anything, because the recipe manufacturers are always saying you can do that and suggesting it, but I just don't like the idea of doing it. But it could just be me. That's just a preference thing. It's not sure if it'll really make a big difference. Boy, you can see all the hops here stuck to the I'll push that plunger down a little bit a couple times just to make sure it's clear, because it's kind of moving slow. There's a lot of stuff coming through this tube. Alright, so that's 9. I don't know, this is going to be close. Yeah, look how cloudy that is. It doesn't look awful. I mean, it's not the best, but it's not the worst either. Surprised how much hops is sticking to the side of the fermenter. So we're going to have to lean this over here soon to get a good flow going. And I'm going to be very gentle with it. because I really don't want to pull in all kinds of trash. I don't think I'm gonna get 12. It looks like 11, because this bottle still is about halfway.
I got a little bit too excited about an extra beer. So when you get down to the bottom like this and you're starting to pull up crud, you're gonna have to push your plunger in and out a few times. Let me grab that next bottle, because I really don't want to set my fermenter back down. God, it smells so good. It always, the last couple of bottles smell really good always. Yeah, this is definitely 11. I actually put a little bit more. I may go back and top off some of these. I think we did pretty good. We got 11 out of it, and that's what we expected. And we filled our bottles properly. So let's get our fizz drops in. Let's get that done.
I tell you, this beer smells good. Makes me want to drink beer. And that's an easy problem to fix. That's good. I tell you, that's a good recipe, that AG Orange Golden Ale. Really good recipe. Only thing I didn't like about these fizz drops is the package is not resealable, but it's not a big deal. You can throw in a Ziploc bag like I did. It's not a deal breaker. I like these because they have a coating on them and they're not sticky.
The other fizz drops I've used have been real sticky, but these have like a powdery coating on them. All right, so we got our fizz drops in. Set those aside, and we're gonna get capping here. And like I said, we're using silver. A little space here. We're using silver for these. I tend to use for like pilsners and lighter beer wheat. I'll use silver just because it's a light color, if that makes any sense. At one time, I probably had 8 or 9 different beers in the fridge last year when I was doing a lot of brewing. And I think I ended up having to write down what they all were because I was starting to lose track of them. Because that's very easy to do. But I tell you, this has been a great bottle capper. This Northern Brew, it came with my first kit that I bought from them, or I was gifted actually. And it's a solid capper. I mean, it's a really good piece of equipment. Does a good job. I've never had a, boy, I need to knock on some wood. I've never had a bottle not seal using this.
So I can say nothing but good things about their capper. As long as you get it on there centered and you get it somewhat on the bottle right, I think you won't have any issues. So 11 good brews. I'm happy with that. And these are going to be stored away back in the box that I got my bottles in when I first purchased them. I like to put them back in the box and close the box up so it's dark, because yeast does not like sunlight. So it's always good to do that.
All right, so we are done. We have finished up this batch, and we're going to let these carbonate for about 2 weeks. We're going to open one up for you, try it out, and see how it turned out. We'll see you then. All right, brewing peeps, we are back. It's been more than 2 weeks, and our hoppy wheat is ready to open up. We got it nice and chilled. We got us a frosted glass here. Let's open it up. Had a little bit of a hiss, but not as strong as I'd like it to be, so it'll be interesting to see how much carbonation we got here. Still got some good carbonation. Actually, that's really strong. So the hiss is not always telling. Take a look at that. Has a big head on there, and I'm not really pouring it that fast, so can't really smell the hops. It's not very strong. I did notice in the bottle, and it's cloudy now, but I did notice there was quite a bit of sediment. But it looks like our carbonation is just fine. We'll let you take a closer look at it. Some good bubble action there. Nice head. Actually a lot frothier than I expected it to be from the sound of the hiss, but let's I can smell the hops. It's very subtle, very, very light. Gonna be interesting to taste this. It's not super clear. I did have a lot of sediment in the bottle, and I mean what's in here now is super cloudy. So let's taste it and see what it tastes like. Very, very hoppy. It reminds me of, oh my gosh, reminds me of Northern Brewers Zombie Dirt. It reminds me of it a lot. It doesn't smell very hoppy, but boy, is it hoppy. Not a bad beer. If you're a hops lover, you're gonna like this. A lot of bite, kind of citrusy, kind of has like an orangish, maybe an orangish, lemonish kind of flavor to it. Definitely got a citrusy flavor to it. And not surprising, because a lot of these wheat beers that have hops in them are going to be like that. But I said, you know, I tell you what, it might remind me of Dead Ringer a little bit more. Dead Ringer comes to mind. But I like this better than I like the hoppy Northern Brewer brews. And this is a really good tasting beer. If you're one of those that like hops, you're going to like this. This is an interesting combination, wheat with the hops. Really good. Let's pour the rest of it out. Let's see how cloudy it is here. It looks pretty cloudy. Not bad though. Not bad. We'll leave that last bit. That last bit, boy. Whew. I did cloud it up a little bit. Wonderful looking beer other than the cloudiness. You know, there's not a whole lot I could have done with it. There was a lot of hops in this beer. But not bad. Definitely one I'd brew again. Again, that's Craft A Brew's Hoppy Wheat. Pretty good beer. I say success again. So we're going to be brewing up some more of our Craft A Brew recipes. We got like 5 or 6 remaining. So we're going to get on those. But make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed so you get all of our brewing videos and also our product reviews. And also make sure you check out brewingdaddy.com. Peace out. We'll see you next time.